Hey, hey! Hello, sacred friend. Welcome back. I am Lori Andrus, and today we are going to talk about a little crystal wisdom for the month of May. We're going to tap into the energy of Garnet, our May crystal ally of the month. It has a lot to share, and boy, oh boy, has it been noisy already. Yeah, for at least the past week, it's been kind of dropping in some good messages, some ideas, some thoughts, and some shares. And I even have brought Garnet to Dreamtime. That is how active it is. I just love I love the energy that Garnet brings. It's really been a very long time favorite of mine. If you've been in my world for a while, you know that when Garnet shows up, I get really excited for a lot of different reasons, largely because I know that it is inviting us to really consider the seeds we want to plant in our lives. It wants us to reconnect with our inner voice and just really listen. And then it asks us to get deeply rooted. Well, as I've been preparing for, I'm going to say this episode, but really, actually, more so for the ceremony that we have coming up in the sanctuary on Wednesday and last week's community call, I really wanted to drop into the energy of Garnet and listen to what it wants to share. I like to really tap in and hear its words before we connect in those calls. And on last week's call, we just had a really juicy conversation about what Garnet is asking of us and how it is holding space for us to become deeply rooted in our lives, but more than that, to really cultivate a deep commitment to ourselves, to our path, and to what we recognize as our purpose. That is so exciting. That I think is actually really inspiring as we move into the month of May. I feel like the past several months have really had some peaks and valleys energetically. And in many ways, it's felt like we've kind of been riding a little bit of a roller coaster. Sometimes we have these false start energies where there's a momentum and we feel like we're moving forward with something. And then all of a sudden we fall backwards a couple steps and we've slowed down dramatically. And then we wonder, what just happened? Well, I've seen it in the weather. The weather has done this as well here in the Midwest. I think probably across the country and probably other places in the world as well. But here in the Midwest, my goodness, it's spring starts and then all of a sudden we get massive snow and then spring starts again and we get more snow and spring starts again and it's 30 degrees. This morning we woke up to snow. Yes. And I also know that in a couple days it'll be bright and sunny and beautiful, and the grass is going to be lush and green and growing immensely because it has just been watered by by the snow. So, in this conversation today, I want to talk about a couple ways that Garnet is inviting us to deepen our commitment to ourselves. And there were three particular words that really showed up as I sat down this morning and asked Garnet to come forward and really focus in the conversation. And the first word was to rest, to let yourself rest. The next one was to root. And then the third word was to realign. I felt such a deep exhale with that. What a beautiful energy to carry us into this week's full moon and lunar eclipse, into the energy of the month of May, and into the season of planting seeds. Yeah. When we hit this midpoint of the spring season, we're really at a place where it is time to plant seeds of intention, to focus in our energy. and to really begin to create the foundation that will bring things to life. When we get this weird weather like we've been having, and we have a start of spring, and then we get snow, and then we start spring and we have snow, the thing that I always am reminded of is the importance of rooting even further. When the snow falls on the earth, it's like it almost looks like this disappointment, this disappointing energy of, oh, we're going back. We're going back. But it isn't. It's a really unique energy. What it's inviting and what it's creating an opportunity for is for all of the plants to root even more deeply into the earth, to let their roots send down further into the soil and create a more stable foundation. This is something that I think so often we overlook. I know I do in my own life. I forget the importance of laying a really solid foundation before moving forward quickly and at fast speeds. And I think, regardless of where we are on our spiritual path, this is something that shows up in different ways, largely because it's a cultural story that is so deeply embedded in our subconscious that it just naturally reemerges from one moment to the next. And it's one of the things that becomes really confusing actually on a spiritual path, I think, largely because there's this kind of false idea that we can control timing, we can control, circumstances, we can control lots of things. But the reality is we need to find a way to move with what the natural rhythms are. That's our natural rhythms, the natural rhythms of the earth, the natural rhythms that are being rippled through the collective consciousness. I know this sounds like kind of a bit of an etheric conversation, but this is a part of really stepping into a relationship and harmonious relationship with the earth. It's about coming into a natural flow for life. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So when we are reminded by weather such as what's outside today, snow, to just slow down and sink our roots in even deeper. It's not a stop. It's simply an invitation to be more thoroughly planted in the earth, to really get clear within about what it is we're committing to and clarifying how it is in alignment. Is it in alignment? Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that I'm just kind of glancing down at my notes here. One of the things that really came forward, it's been a really big conversation in the sanctuary. And it's been a conversation from the crystals. The crystals keep bringing this up, this thought, this message. And the message has been around writing a new storyline within our lives. And, there's so many layers to that. Often there's the story, right? We can write a new mythology for our life. But then there's how do we integrate it? How do we actually live the new story? How do we allow it to really flow and breathe within our world? And one of the things that came forward with the energy of this full moon, the energy of the lunar eclipse, and the energy of Garnet was an invitation to look at the storylines that we're playing out in our lives and to take a little glance at the places where we're trying to put new characters into old roles. Yeah. Meaning that we meet someone new, we get really excited, and we invite them into a specific role in our lives, and we unconsciously expect that they'll continue to play out a particular story. And we actually participate in the creation of that story, that storyline that does not serve us at all, never did. But the opportunity right now is to recognize that the story is happening, to go, oh my goodness, this is the story I've had since I was a child with my very first best friend. We have these stories that are so, so old, and some of them may or may not be from this lifetime. Some of them may or may not be generational. Some of them may have far older roots. But the opportunity is for us to have awareness that, oh, this story has been on repeat with new characters my entire life. And when we have that awareness, our opportunity is to pause and to ask ourselves if we're ready to do the healing necessary to move through that storyline, to write a new storyline. Now, this is where Garnet is super exciting for this month, because Garnet actually kind of comes in with a bit of a lightning bolt energy. It comes in with a very strong and clearing force. It is like, hey, let's shake things up and let's shake them up fast. It brings light to those stories that aren't working and says, hey, it's time to rewrite this. Let's break that down. Those of you who are into the tarot, it's kind of like the Tower card. Let's break it down. We can have it be dramatic, or we can have it be with ease. We can be like an active participant in the breaking down and have that flow a little bit more fluidly. We can say, yes, oh my goodness, this is the story that needs to dissolve. Let's let this energy of Garnet help us break that down, create incredibly fertile soil so that we can root into a storyline that is in alignment, that is inner truth, that is reflective of our own growth and expansion. Yeah, we need fertile soil at our feet. Incredibly fertile soil. Soil that can nourish our foundation in life and help us to really expand into the truth of who we are. So many of us, and I'm putting myself into this as well, so many of us have been living stories that were never ours to begin with. We just adapted, received, took them on as, for one reason or another in our lives. And we've been living them over and over and over. This month, this Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse, Garnet's showing up and is saying, hey, do you really want to carry that story any further? What would it be like if we laid that down? What would it be like if you were to shake it off and let that alchemize in a way that feels meaningful, that creates something new and inspiring in your life? Yeah. This is, to me, I think the energy right now is really exciting. And I think Garnet is going to be just a really incredible ally for this month. I'm very excited about it. I want to also invite you to pay attention to your practices for tightening up your energetic space. Notice where you are letting your energy get scattered, letting it get kind of loosey-goosey, letting yourself bend, and not from a place of like, being forceful, but more from the place of really coming into you in the place of grace and sacredness and beauty and compassion and deep presence that is you. And really aligning with all of you. And when we're tapped into other people's energy, when we're concerned about what other people are thinking about us, or we are writing old stories, rewriting old stories with new characters, we are spreading our energy in ways that just doesn't serve. And so Garnet's going to say, hey, let's take a nice lightning bolt of energy here. Let's clean this up, draw your energy back in, let that old story become fertilizer in the earth, and find the piece of wisdom. Write the new story. Yeah. All right. So, with that, my beautiful friends, I wish you an absolutely wonderful, wonderful month of May. Enjoy the energy that is showing up at this time. Be really nurturing with you. Give yourself space to rest, root deep into the earth, and realign with all of who you are. I wish you a beautiful day. And as always, shine brightly. Bye for now.